Number one, you have to be intentional. You got to be intentional. You can't just live life on accident. Life doesn't just happen, at least not that life that you want and dream of. You have to make it happen. A few months ago, I was sitting at the dinner table. My 11-year-old daughter, she had a friend over that night, and we were sitting at the dinner table, and they started to discuss how when they got married, they wanted to be a certain height. Now, picture these two girls, 11 and probably 11 or 10, something like that, maybe 12, and they're picturing how tall they wanted to be when they got married. And I'll never forget my friend, the friend of my daughter, said, "Well, my sister wants to be 5'4" when she gets married." Now, I don't know how tall her sister is, but my daughter responded with, "Well, if she keeps trying, maybe she will be." I don't know about you, but if trying determined our height, I promise you, I would be somewhere around like 6'2", 6'3", but I'm not. But I do love what my daughter was implying. And my daughter was implying that growth doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional about it. You have to try. And in fact, I started thinking about this. The only things that accidentally grow are weeds. And those are things that we don't want in our lives. That's when we accidentally do something, it's really something popping up that we don't want, and it's a weed. If you want good, healthy growth, you have to be intentional about it. Now, it's easy to say, right? You got to be intentional about it. But what do I mean by that? What I mean is you have to have a plan on how you want to grow. If you want to grow into being a better and more present parent with your kids, you have to plan to do that. Maybe you have to knock off certain times of the day that you will be fully present with them. Even if it's an hour, if you say, "Hey, listen, as soon as I get home from work, for this hour from 5 to 6 or from 6 to 7 or whatever it is, I will not have my phone. I will not be available to others. I will not sit down in front of a screen. I will be fully present with my kids. I will be a fully present parent." Even if it's for an hour, that's still an hour more than you had been doing. And that is called growth because that is progress. We have to celebrate, and maybe this is something we struggle with. We have to celebrate progress and not necessarily just completion. Just because you completed something doesn't mean that you actually grew, right? You can have goals and you cannot grow. You can check a box. It doesn't mean that you actually grew in some way. I think about my wife. I've been married for almost 18 years coming up. And my wife had a goal on her bucket list. She wanted to run in the Iron Mom. She wanted to run some kind of 5K. And so she started this training program. She starts this training program, this Couch to 5K training program. She wanted to run in this race. She wanted to mark it off her list. And so she did the Couch to 5K. She worked hard. She built up her endurance. And after she ran the race, she has never run again. For her, it wasn't about growth. She wanted to complete the race. She wasn't trying to grow to become a runner. She wasn't trying to become like this different person. This is not who she wanted to become. She just wanted to complete a task. And when we talk about growth, we have to talk about progress, not just checking a box, not just completion, but are you growing into something? Are you becoming the person that you want to become? If your goal is to become a more present person, then what you have to do is you have to actually say, am I growing into that? Not, okay, I did that today, call it good. We're never going to hit perfection. So we can always experience progress. We can always grow in some area of our lives. But to do this, we have to be intentional.